My parents secretly sold my loyal dog for my sister's $35,000 wedding shoes. Then I exposed a truth that made their dark scheme collapse. I came home from a work trip to find my world utterly destroyed. My parents had sold my beloved dog, Max, for my sister's $35,000 wedding shoes, but that was just the beginning of their dark secrets. What unfolded next wasn't just about a dog. It was about 25 years of lies and the real cost of my family's perfect facade. 3 years before, rain was hammering against the shelter windows like tiny fists when I first saw Max. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was just with my roommate Sarah, who wanted to look at cats. But then I saw him. A golden retriever mix, only 8 weeks old, sitting perfectly still amidst the chaos of other puppies. His eyes held too much wisdom. "That one's been returned twice," the volunteer said. "People say he's too quiet. Might be something wrong with him." But I knew better. In his stillness I saw a kindred spirit. That day I signed the papers, already hearing my parents' disapproval in my head. Max became more than a pet. He was my anchor. Every morning at 6:15, he'd rest his chin on my bed, waiting patiently. No barking, no pawing, just that gentle presence. Our morning walks through Riverside Park were sacred rituals, especially after my worst days, Connor's betrayal, losing that internship, countless family dinners where my achievements were footnotes to my sister Ashley's grand narratives. Max's intelligence was astounding. He mastered commands in weeks, knew his toys by name. But his greatest gift was reading emotions. When anxiety clawed at my chest, he'd bring his leash. When tears threatened, he'd rest his head on my lap, grounding me. My parents, Richard and Diane Morrison, tolerated Max with the same resigned acceptance they applied to most of my choices. Dad, a real estate attorney, couldn't understand attachment to something that only depreciated. Mom, whose life revolved around charity luncheons and Ashley's wedding, viewed Max as just another phase. Ashley, 3 years my junior, was a master of casual cruelty. "Sophie's dog is actually adorable," she'd coo, emphasizing actually. Her engagement to Preston Whitfield III had transformed her into an insufferable, entitled bride-to-be. While her $500,000 wedding was celebrated, my promotion at the youth counseling center was met with, "Well, at least you're happy." In our house, happiness was something you settled for when you couldn't achieve success. The trip to Chicago came at the worst time. My supervisor specifically requested my presence, calling me one of our most promising advocates. It meant 5 days away, the longest I'd been separated from Max. I'd prepared detailed instructions, 2 weeks of prescription food, his favorite toys, the vet's emergency number. "You've written a novel here," Dad scoffed. "It's a dog, not a nuclear reactor." Ashley, glued to her phone, added, "God, Sophie, we had dogs growing up. We know what to do." Our one dog, Buttons, lived exclusively in the backyard and was rehomed when Ashley developed allergies. I bit my tongue, kissed Max goodbye and whispered, "Be good. I'll be back soon." He watched from the window as my Uber pulled away. I fought the irrational urge to cancel everything and stay. Just 5 days, I told myself. What could possibly go wrong? From day one, something felt off. My first check-in call went unanswered. The second day, I FaceTimed during Max's evening walk time, but Ashley answered, clearly at a restaurant. "Oh, he's around somewhere. Mom's handling it." I heard Preston in the background mention that mutt, and Ashley's tinkling laugh. By day 3, my calls were actively declined. Dad texted, "Sophie, we're busy with wedding preparations. The dog is fine. Please respect our time." As if my concern was a frivolous inconvenience. My anxiety mounted. Max had never been away from routine this long. Sarah, my roommate, said my mom told her she was taking Max to their place for the week, so she hadn't checked on him. The final 2 days crawled by. I caught an earlier flight home. As the taxi turned onto my parents' street in Westchester, I imagined Max's full body wiggle. But the house was too quiet. No Max in the window. I used my key, calling out, "Max! Max, buddy, I'm home." Silence. Not the expectant silence before thundering pause, but an empty, echoing silence. Mom's carefully modulated voice drifted from the living room. They sat like a tribunal. Dad, Mom, and Ashley admiring her manicure. No Max anywhere. Where is he? My voice was steadier than expected, though my heart hammered. Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Ashley smirked. "Sit down, Sophie," Dad said, using his litigation voice. "Where is Max?" I repeated, gripping the new squeaky hot dog toy I'd bought him at the airport. "We need to discuss this rationally," Mom began. "You know, we've all been under tremendous stress with the wedding planning. Where is my dog?" Ashley finally looked up. "God, Sophie, why are you being so aggressive?" Dad cleared his throat. "There was an opportunity that arose. A beneficial arrangement for everyone involved." "What arrangement?" "The Weatherby's daughter," Mom said, words tumbling out. "They own that estate in Greenwich. They offered a very generous sum. You sold him." The words were barely a whisper. "It's not like that," Ashley interjected, holding up her left foot to display a shoe. "These are Louboutin limited edition. The wedding shoes I've dreamed about since I was 12. They became available, but only for immediate purchase. And Daddy's accounts were tied up. You sold my dog for shoes." "Don't be dramatic, Sophie," Dad said, standing. "He's just a dog. You can get another one." "Just a dog." The phrase hung like a toxic cloud. "He's not just a dog." My voice broke. "He's family. He's my family. We're your family." Mom corrected. "No," I said, surprising myself with my firmness. "Family doesn't betray each other for designer shoes. Family doesn't sell what someone loves most while they're gone." I had to stop, choking on rage and grief. "Oh my God, you're being such a victim." Ashley rolled her eyes. "It's one dog. Meanwhile, I'm planning the social event of the year. And you're having a breakdown over a pet you can replace tomorrow." "Replace?" As if Max was a broken appliance. "Who bought him?" I asked, my voice deadly quiet now. "That's not important," Mom said quickly. "Who bought him?" "Sophie, you need to accept," Dad began. "Who bought my dog?" My scream startled everyone, including me. Good daughters didn't scream. But I wasn't a good daughter anymore. I was a woman who'd lost everything that mattered to pay for shoes that would be worn once. Dad's jaw tightened. "Mr. Daniel Blackwood. He paid $15,000. Far more than that mutt was worth, if you must know. $15,000. That's what Max's life was worth to them. To Ashley's feet. I want his address." "Absolutely not." Mom moved towards me. "You'll embarrass us all." "He's a respected businessman. I want his address." "You won't get it from us," Ashley said, examining her shoes again. "Besides, it's been 3 days. The dog's probably already forgotten you." 3 days. They'd let me panic and worry for 3 days knowing he was gone. I turned and walked towards the stairs. "Where are you going?" Mom called. "To my room. To pack. To leave." "Don't be ridiculous," Dad said. "You're emotional. Sleep here, and we'll discuss this rationally in the morning." I stopped at the base of the stairs, not turning around. "Who bought him?" Silence. That night, I lay in my childhood bed, clutching Max's favorite tennis ball. The house felt like a mausoleum. At 2 a.m. I heard footsteps, then a soft rustling at my door. When I opened it, a folded piece of paper lay on the floor. Inside, in an unfamiliar, elegant hand, Daniel Blackwood, 47, Thornwood Drive, Greenwich. No explanation, no signature. Just an address. Morning came, gray and bitter. Mom's best china was out, her way of pretending normalcy. Ashley scrolled through Pinterest. Dad hid behind his financial section. "Sophie, I made your favorite," Mom announced, sliding Eggs Benedict in front of me. "Let's put yesterday behind us." Pushed it away. "I'm not hungry." "You need to eat," she insisted. "And we need to discuss your behavior yesterday. Screaming like that. What if the neighbors heard? What if they did?" I asked flatly. Dad lowered his paper. "This attitude isn't helping anyone, Sophie. Helping like you helped by selling my dog?" "He wasn't just your dog," Ashley interjected. "He lived here too. We all had to deal with the hair, the smell, the barking." "Max didn't bark." "Whatever. The point is, we all made sacrifices." "Sacrifices?" Ashley's sacrifice was apparently tolerating Max's existence while she lived rent-free, planning her $500,000 wedding. "You're right," I said, standing. "You've all sacrificed so much. Especially you, Ashley. Having to see a loving, loyal creature every day must have been torture for someone incapable of either quality. Sophie. Mom gasped. Ashley's face flushed. At least I'm not a pathetic spinster whose only friend is a dog. I corrected. Was a dog. Past tense. Thanks to you. I left them. In my room, Max's bed was still indented with his shape. His collar hung from my doorknob, a relic. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Hey, how's Max? Bet he went crazy when you got home. I couldn't answer. Instead, I opened my laptop and started searching. Daniel Blackwood, Greenwich, Connecticut. CEO of Blackwood International. Divorced. Daughter at Yale. Philanthropist. Mid-40s, sharp features, eyes that saw through the camera. Why would a man like that buy a dog from random strangers? $15,000 was nothing to him. His watch probably cost triple. But it was everything to my parents. Or rather, to Ashley's vanity. Sophie, Mom knocked softly. Can we talk? No. This silent treatment is childish. So is selling someone's dog for shoes. She entered anyway. You have to understand, Ashley's wedding is important. More important than my feelings? Than Max? It's her special day. Every girl dreams. I don't. I interrupted. I dreamed of a life with meaning, with genuine connections. Like the one I had with Max. Mom's face hardened. That dog was becoming an unhealthy obsession. You're 25, Sophie. You should be dating, building a career that matters. My career does matter. Social work. She actually laughed. Honey, that's a job for people who can't do better. Or for people who want to do better. Better than selling their integrity for status. She stood, smoothing her skirt. That nervous habit that meant she was done pretending to care. Mr. Blackwood is a respected member of the community. You will not harass him. Watch me. That afternoon, I overheard them in the kitchen. Ashley's voice shrill. She's being impossible. It's just a dog. She'll get over it, Dad assured her. Sophie always does. Did I? Had I gotten over Connor's cheating, which they'd called a blessing in disguise? Over losing the internship Dad sabotaged? Over 25 years of being the afterthought? What if she does something stupid? Mom worried. What if she goes to the Blackwoods? She won't, Dad said confidently. Sophie doesn't make scenes. He was right. Good, quiet, accommodating Sophie never made scenes. But that Sophie had owned a dog. This Sophie had nothing left to lose. That evening, Ashley was on the phone, voice lowered but not enough. No, Preston. She's still sulking. I know, right? So embarrassing. The shoes? They're perfect. Worth every penny. No, the dog's gone. Thank God. Yeah, the new owner paid cash. Cash? Untraceable. Why would Daniel Blackwood pay cash for a dog? I pulled out the note again. The paper was heavy, cream-colored. Not from our printer. A text from an unknown number appeared. The truth about your dog isn't what they told you. I called. No answer. The number was disconnected. My investigation shifted online. I posted in Greenwich Facebook groups, carefully worded, asking about a golden retriever mix. Within an hour, my post was deleted. Post violated community guidelines. The admin messaged. Someone was monitoring. That night at dinner, Ashley clicked her new shoes against the floor. Those are beautiful, sweetheart, Mom cooed. They'll be perfect. They better be, considering what they cost, I said innocently. Oh, market price, Ashley deflected. $15,000 seems above market for shoes. Dad's fork clattered. Sophie, unless they're not just shoes, I interrupted. Unless they're also the price of a clear conscience. How much does it cost to forget you destroyed someone's happiness? Apparently 15 grand. You're being dramatic. Ashley snapped. Max is probably living in luxury now. The Blackwoods have that huge estate. You mean Blackwood? Singular. Daniel Blackwood. Ashley's face paled slightly. How did you? I'm not as stupid as you think. No one thinks you're stupid, Mom intervened. Just unsuccessful, unmotivated, wasting my potential. All the things you say when you think I'm not listening. We only want what's best, Dad began. You want what looks best. There's a difference. I stood to leave. You know what? Ashley's voice stopped me. I'm glad he's gone. That dog was the only thing you cared about, and it was pathetic. At least now you might get a life. I had a life, I said. You sold it. Back in my room, I opened Max's photo folder. Hundreds of images. In every one, his eyes held that same trust. I'd failed him. Another text. Different unknown number. They didn't tell you everything. Check your father's office. Bottom drawer. Left side. Dad's office was off limits. But at 3 a.m. I crept downstairs. The drawer was locked, but I'd learned to pick simple locks in college. Inside, documents. A receipt, not for $15,000 but for $35,000. They'd sold Max for $35,000 and kept $20,000 for themselves. The shoes were just a cover story. But why would anyone pay that much? The next page revealed confidentiality agreement regarding the transfer of animal and associated materials. Associated materials? What materials? Before I could read more, footsteps creaked above. I photographed everything quickly, relocked the drawer and escaped. The truth was bigger. This wasn't just about selling Max. 3 days later, I still hadn't confronted them. The photos were blurry but readable. Associated materials, genetic testing, behavioral studies, and Project Compass. I searched online. Nothing. Whatever it wasn't public knowledge. The house had become a Cold War state. Friday evening, 7:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I was staring at the clock, wondering how many hours Max had been gone. 144. The doorbell rang. Nobody moved. It rang again, followed by firm knocking. I'll get it, I said, my chest tightening with inexplicable anticipation. Sophie, wait. Mom started, but I was already at the door. I opened it and the world tilted. There stood Daniel Blackwood, exactly as in the photos, impeccably dressed. But I barely registered him because beside him, on a leather leash, tail wagging so hard his entire back end swayed, was Max. Max. The name tore from my throat as I dropped to my knees. He lunged forward, nearly pulling Blackwood's leash hand. He was in my arms, licking my face, making those huffing sounds that were his version of crying. I buried my face in his fur. He smelled wrong, like expensive shampoo, but underneath was still Max. Still my boy. Hello, Sophie, Blackwood said. His voice educated, international, carefully neutral. I believe we need to talk. Who is it? Dad boomed from behind, then stopped abruptly. Mr. Blackwood. The temperature seemed to drop. Mom appeared, face pale. Ashley peered from behind her, those $35,000 shoes clicking nervously. Mr. and Mrs. Morrison. Ashley. Blackwood nodded slightly. We weren't expecting. Mom stammered. No, I imagine you weren't. He handed me Max's leash. I gripped it like a lifeline. May I come in? What I have to say shouldn't be discussed on doorsteps. Dad stepped aside mechanically. Blackwood entered with the confidence of someone who owned whatever room he occupied. Max pressed against my legs, trembling slightly, not from fear but from sheer excitement. We assembled in the living room in the same positions as that horrible day. Except now I stood, Max at my side, while Blackwood commanded the space. You told me the dog was unwanted, he began without preamble. A burden you were eager to unload. He was. Ashley started. Don't. The word cracked like a whip. I've had your dog for a week. In that time he's refused to eat unless forced, howled continuously at night, and attempted to escape 6 times. That's not the behavior of an unwanted animal. My heart soared. Max had fought for me. More interesting, Blackwood continued, is his training. Exceptional. Whoever trained him has a gift. Sophie trained him, Mom said quietly, as if the admission cost her. I suspected as much. His gaze found mine, softening fractionally. Your parents didn't just sell me a dog, Miss Morrison. They sold me something far more valuable, though I doubt they understood what they were doing. The associated materials, I said, pieces clicking together. His eyebrows rose slightly. You know about that? I found the contract. Dad's face flushed. You went through my office. You sold my dog. We're past boundaries. What materials? Ashley demanded, looking between our parents. You said it was just the dog. Blackwood smiled, but it wasn't pleasant. Your parents provided me with extensive video footage of Max's training, his medical records, and most importantly, documentation of his bloodline. You see, Max isn't just any rescue dog. He's part of a very specific breeding program, one I've been tracking, that produces dogs with exceptional intelligence and empathic abilities. That's ridiculous, Dad blustered. He's just a mutt from a shelter. A mutt whose grandfather was Titan, the military working dog who saved 17 soldiers in Afghanistan, whose grandmother was Sage, the therapy dog who could detect seizures 30 minutes before onset. His lineage was lost when the breeding program was shut down, but certain markers remain. My mind reeled. Max's uncanny ability to sense my emotions, his intelligence, his instant bond with me. It all made a terrible kind of sense. You knew, I accused my parents. Somehow you knew. We suspected, Mom admitted. The shelter mentioned he was special, but we thought they just meant well-trained. So you sold him to the highest bidder. It was a good opportunity, Dad began. It was theft, Blackwood interrupted. Fraud, actually. You sold me something under false pretenses, claiming ownership and authority you didn't possess. We're his legal owners. Ashley protested. No, I said, remembering suddenly. You're not. I registered him in my name. The chip is in my name. Every vet record is in my name. You stole him. The room went silent except for Max's panting. Which brings us to why I'm here, Blackwood said. I could pursue legal action. Fraud, theft, animal cruelty. Selling a bonded animal causes documented psychological distress that qualifies as cruelty. Your reputation, Mr. Morrison, your practice would be destroyed. Your daughter's wedding would be the social event of the year, just not in the way she imagined. Ashley made a strangled sound. I'm more interested in justice than revenge. He looked at me. The choice is yours, Sophie. I'll return Max regardless. He's useless to my program without his handler, and more importantly, keeping him would be cruel. But the rest, exposing what they did, the money they kept, the lies they told, that's your decision. What money they kept? I asked, though I already knew. The shoes cost $15,000, he said evenly. I paid $35,000. I'm curious where the other $20,000 went. Ashley's gasp was theatrical. Mom, Dad. Their silence was answer enough. Into savings, Dad finally admitted. For the wedding. My wedding fund? Ashley's voice pitched higher. You stole from my wedding fund to add to my wedding fund? The irony was so perfect I almost laughed. There's more, Blackwood said, and everyone froze. Sophie, your parents never told you about your godfather, did they? My what? James Hartley, my business partner until his death 2 years ago. He left instructions that if anything happened to him, a portion of his estate should go to his goddaughter. You. The room spun. I don't have a godfather. You did. Your parents were named trustees of your inheritance until your 25th birthday, which was 3 months ago. Mom's sob was sudden and sharp. Dad's face went gray. How much? I asked numbly. $200,000. Designated for your education, a home, starting a business, whatever you chose. Your parents were to notify you on your birthday. $200,000. While I worked 3 jobs through college. While I lived in a studio with rats. While they told me repeatedly I needed to be more independent. We were going to tell you, Mom whispered. When? My voice was strange, detached. After Ashley's honeymoon? After her first house? After her children's college funds were secured? It wasn't like that. What was it like then? Dad stood, trying to reclaim authority. We made decisions we thought were best. That money would have been wasted on your life, on your bleeding heart projects, social work, animal rescue, all these causes that don't generate returns. Returns. I laughed, harsh and bitter. Like Ashley's wedding? $500,000 for one day. That's a good return. It's an investment in her future. And I'm not. Max pressed closer. Even Blackwood looked uncomfortable. You were always. Mom searched for words. Different. Difficult. You didn't want the things we could give you. I wanted love, support, to be seen as more than Ashley's disappointing sister. We love you. You love the idea of me. The daughter you could have had if I just cooperated, conformed, cared about the right things. But the actual me? The one who trains dogs and helps troubled kids and dates musicians instead of bankers? Her you sold for $35,000 and a pair of shoes. I turned to Blackwood. I want it all. The money they stole. The truth exposed. Everything. Sophie, please. Mom reached for me. I stepped back, Max growling softly. The first time I'd ever heard him growl at anyone. I'm done. Done pretending this is a family. Done accepting crumbs while Ashley gets feasts. Done being grateful for neglect disguised as tough love. Blackwood pulled out his phone. I'll have my lawyers contact you Monday, Sophie. We'll recover your inheritance and ensure your parents face appropriate consequences. This will ruin us. Dad said flatly. No, I corrected. You ruined you. I'm just refusing to keep it secret anymore. Ashley, uncharacteristically quiet until now, exploded. This is insane. It's just a dog. You're destroying our family over a dog. No, Blackwood said quietly. She's saving herself from a family that was destroying her. He moved towards the door, then paused. Sophie, you have a gift. The way you trained Max, the bond you created. It's rare. I have a proposal if you're interested. My company works with service animals for veterans with PTSD. We need someone with your abilities. A job offer while my world imploded. A door opened. Also, he added, looking at my parents with undisguised contempt, you should know I've already contacted James's other business partners. They're very interested in how his goddaughter's inheritance was handled. Very interested. He left, leaving his business card. I stood in the ruins of my childhood home, Max's leash wrapped around my hand, feeling simultaneously destroyed and liberated. Sophie, Ashley said, real tears streaming down her face. You can't do this. My wedding will be perfect. Your wedding will be perfect, I assured her. You'll have your designer shoes, your $500,000 party, your perfect husband who calls my dog, that mutt. You'll have everything you ever wanted. And I'll have Max. You're choosing a dog over your family. I'm choosing loyalty over betrayal, love over transactions. It just happens that the dog is the only one offering the former. I walked towards the stairs, Max matching my pace. There was one more thing, I said, not turning around. The note. The one slipped under my door with Blackwood's address. Who wrote it? Silence stretched. Until Mom whispered. The housekeeper, Maria. She saw what we did. Saw you crying. She couldn't stand it. Maria. Who'd worked for us for 15 years. Who'd snuck Max treats. Who'd risked her job to give me hope. Thank her for me, I said, and climbed the stairs for the last time. In my room I packed essentials. Max watched from his bed, which I also folded and packed. His toys, his bowls, his medications. The Chicago hot dog toy I'd never given him. He immediately claimed. From downstairs, raised voices. My parents arguing. Ashley sobbing. Doors slamming. The Morrison family was fracturing, but I realized it had been broken long before tonight. We'd just been performing wholeness. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Hey, are you okay? Your mom just called asking if you were here. She sounded hysterical. I texted back. Picking up Max, coming home soon. Home. Not this house with its perfect facades and hollow hearts. Home was my cramped apartment with Sarah, with Max, with authenticity. As I loaded my car, Dad appeared in the garage doorway. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was believing you could love something that didn't enhance your image. We gave you everything. You gave me things. There's a difference. If you leave now, don't expect. What? Your support? Your approval? Your love? I never had those anyway. He flinched. The first genuine emotion I'd seen from him in years. Sophie, his voice cracked slightly. We did love you. We just didn't know how to love who you became. Then you didn't love me. You loved who you wanted me to be. That's not the same thing. I loaded Max into the back seat. He settled immediately, understanding we were leaving. As I backed out of the driveway, I saw them in the window. Mom crying, Dad stone-faced, Ashley on her phone. They looked like a portrait of prosperity interrupted. A family that had everything except what mattered. The drive to the city was quiet, except for Max's occasional sighs of contentment. At a red light, I reached back to stroke his head. He licked my hand. A blessing, a promise. My phone rang. Blackwood. Sophie, I wanted to ensure you made it out safely. I'm fine. We're fine. Good. I meant what I said about the job. The offer stands whenever you're ready. Why? I asked. Why do all this for someone you don't know? A pause. James Hartley talked about you constantly. His goddaughter who chose helping others over helping herself, who rescued a dog everyone else had given up on. He'd be furious if he knew what your parents did. Consider this honoring his memory. You could have just returned Max and left. I could have, but some injustices demand correction, and some people deserve better than they've been given. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The legal process will be ugly. Your parents will fight. Ashley will make you the villain in every social circle. Are you prepared for that? I looked in the rearview mirror at Max. They already made me the villain for loving differently than they do. At least now I'll be the villain with my dog. He chuckled. James would have loved that answer. The call ended as I pulled into my apartment complex. Sarah was waiting. Max. Oh my God, you got him back. How? What happened? Your mom sounded like someone died. Someone did, I said, lifting Max out of the car. The person they wanted me to be. Inside, Max immediately reclaimed his spot on the couch. Sarah gasped when I explained everything. Holy! Your parents are sociopaths. No, I corrected. Sociopaths don't feel guilt. They're just selfish. There's a difference. What now? Now, I said, looking around our tiny apartment. We live. Really live. Without apologies or explanations or justifications. Max barked once, his rare vocalization that meant complete agreement. That night, Max sprawled across my feet. My phone lit up with messages. Mom, please reconsider. We can work this out as a family. Dad, the lawyers say you have a case. Let's settle this privately. Ashley, you've ruined everything. I hope you're happy. But there was one that made me smile. Unknown number. This is Maria. I'm glad you got your dog back. He never stopped looking for you. Neither did you stop looking for him. That's real love. I saved her number, then turned off my phone. In the darkness, Max's breathing was steady, peaceful. For the first time. In days, maybe years, so was mine. We were home. We were together. The family that had sold us both for appearances had lost more than they'd gained. They'd lost the only genuine thing in their perfect house. The daughter who loved without conditions, just like the dog they'd valued at $35,000 but couldn't price what he was actually worth. Monday arrived with 14 missed calls from Dad's lawyer, 6 from Mom, and 1 voicemail from Ashley that began, "You selfish bitch." Max lay across my lap in Daniel Blackwood's office. Your parents have retained Harrison and Associates, Daniel said. They're claiming the inheritance was used for your benefit. Private schools, college tuition, living expenses. They're lying. I know, but proving it requires forensic accounting. Every dollar they spent on you versus Ashley needs documentation. The unfairness burned. So they can steal $200,000, and I have to prove I deserved it? Unfortunately, yes. But, he smiled, sharp as winter, I have the best forensic accountants in the city. Your parents' financial records are already being subpoenaed. Max shifted, sensing my agitation. There's something else, Daniel continued. About your godfather, James. He didn't just leave you money. My stomach tightened. What else? He left you a letter. Your parents were supposed to give it to you on your 21st birthday. They kept it for 4 years. Daniel handed me an envelope, aged but preserved. My name was in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside, the paper smelled of cigars and cologne. Dear Sophie, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And your parents finally did one thing right by giving you this letter. Though knowing Richard and Diane, you're probably reading this later than I intended. You don't know me, but I've watched you grow from afar. Your parents forbade contact. I was too unconventional for their tastes. Translation. I made my money in tech, not law. And I believe in dogs over dinner parties. I've left you money, but more importantly, I've left you permission. Permission to be exactly who you are. The girl who rescued a broken dog and saw his potential. Who chose helping over earning. who loves fiercely and forgives rarely. Your parents will never understand you, Sophie. Stop waiting for them. Build your life on your terms. Trust your instincts, especially about people. And always choose the beings who choose you back. The money is just tools. Your real inheritance is the strength to use them. With love and admiration, James Hartley. P.S. I heard about Max. Any creature that loyal deserves reciprocation. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Tears blurred the words. A stranger had seen me more clearly than my parents ever had. He knew about Max? I asked. James kept tabs on you quietly. He was furious when your parents dismissed your work, your choices. The inheritance was his way of ensuring you'd have freedom. Instead, they stole it for Ashley's wedding. Not just the wedding. Daniel pulled out another document. 3 months ago, your father invested $50,000 in a startup. The exact amount came from an account that should have been transferred to you. The betrayal deepened. It wasn't just favoritism. It was systematic theft. Why? I asked uselessly. Why did they hate me this much? They don't hate you, Daniel said carefully. They hate what you represent. Authenticity in a family built on facades. Genuine emotion in a world of performed feelings. You're proof that their values, money, status, appearances, don't guarantee happiness. Max barked once, his agreement bark. So what now? Now we document everything. Every dollar diverted, every lie told, every legal violation. Your parents think this is about money. It's not. It's about patterns of financial abuse and fraud. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Your mom's here at the apartment. She's crying. I have to go, I said. Sophie, you don't owe them. I know. But I need to face this. When I arrived home, Mom sat on our stoop, her designer suit wrinkled, makeup smeared. She looked older, smaller, human in a way I'd never seen. Sophie. She stood, reaching for me. I stepped back, Max positioning himself between us. What do you want? To explain. To apologize. To fix this. You can't. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on our threadbare couch, looking absurdly out of place. Your father doesn't know I'm here. He'd forbid it. But I need you to understand. Understand what? That you stole from me? That you sold my dog? That you've spent 25 years making me feel worthless? We never meant. Stop. Just stop with the intentions. Results matter, not intentions. She pulled out her phone, showing me a photo. Her young dad and a baby me. You were so wanted, she whispered. We tried for 5 years. When you arrived, you were our miracle. What changed? You did, she corrected quickly. Not you, our expectations. You were supposed to be easier, compliant like Ashley when she came along. Instead, you questioned everything, challenged us, made us examine ourselves. And we didn't like what we saw. So you punished me for it. We tried to guide you. You tried to control me. When that failed, you ignored me. She was crying now, an ugly cry that ruined her remaining makeup. That money from James, we justified it. Said you'd waste it on causes, on others, never yourself. That was my choice to make. I know, God. I know. But your father, he had plans. Ashley's wedding, investments, securing our retirement. My retirement with my inheritance. We were going to pay it back. When? After Ashley had children? After they needed college funds? After you died and left me whatever was left? Her silence was admission. And Max? I pressed. How did you justify that? Ashley convinced us. Said you were too attached. It wasn't healthy. The offer came through a friend of Preston's. Daniel Blackwood isn't friends with Preston. No, but Preston knew someone who knew him. Said he was looking for a specific type of dog. The money was just so much. And Ashley's shoes. Stop. Every word makes it worse. She reached for my hands. I pulled away. Sophie, please. We're still family. No. Family doesn't do this. Maria, our housekeeper, showed more family loyalty than you did. She risked her job to help me. You risked nothing and took everything. What do you want from us? I want my inheritance. I want accountability. I want you to admit just once that Ashley isn't worth more than me. She's not. She is to you. Every choice you've made proves it. Mom stood defeated. Your father will never forgive this. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm demanding justice. At the door she turned. That dog. Does he really mean that much to you? Max was leaning against my leg, steady as a heartbeat. More than you'll ever understand, I said. She left. I knew it was the last honest conversation we'd ever have. In days, maybe years, so was mine. We were home. We were together. The family that had sold us both for appearances had lost more than they'd gained. They'd lost the only genuine thing in their perfect house. The daughter who loved without conditions, just like the dog they'd valued at $35,000 but couldn't price what he was actually worth. Monday arrived with 14 missed calls from Dad's lawyer, 6 from Mom, and 1 voicemail from Ashley that began, "You selfish bitch." Max lay across my lap in Daniel Blackwood's office. Your parents have retained Harrison and Associates, Daniel said. They're claiming the inheritance was used for your benefit. Private schools, college tuition, living expenses. They're lying. I know. But proving it requires forensic accounting. Every dollar they spent on you versus Ashley needs documentation. The unfairness burned. So they can steal $200,000, and I have to prove I deserved it? Unfortunately, yes. But, he smiled, sharp as winter, I have the best forensic accountants in the city. Your parents' financial records are already being subpoenaed. Max shifted, sensing my agitation. There's something else, Daniel continued. About your godfather, James. He didn't just leave you money. My stomach tightened. What else? He left you a letter. Your parents were supposed to give it to you on your 21st birthday. They kept it for 4 years. Daniel handed me an envelope, aged but preserved. My name was in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside, the paper smelled of cigars and cologne. Dear Sophie, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And your parents finally did one thing right by giving you this letter. Though knowing Richard and Diane, you're probably reading this later than I intended. You don't know me, but I've watched you grow from afar. Your parents forbade contact. I was too unconventional for their tastes. Translation. I made my money in tech, not law. And I believe in dogs over dinner parties. I've left you money, but more importantly, I've left you permission. Permission to be exactly who you are. The girl who rescued a broken dog and saw his potential. Who chose helping over earning. Who loves fiercely and forgives rarely. Your parents will never understand you, Sophie. Stop waiting for them. Build your life on your terms. Trust your instincts, especially about people. And always choose the beings who choose you back. The money is just tools. Your real inheritance is the strength to use them. With love and admiration, James Hartley. P.S. I heard about Max. Any creature that loyal deserves reciprocation. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Tears blurred the words. A stranger had seen me more clearly than my parents ever had. He knew about Max? I asked. James kept tabs on you quietly. He was furious when your parents dismissed your work, your choices. The inheritance was his way of ensuring you'd have freedom. Instead, they stole it for Ashley's wedding. Not just the wedding. Daniel pulled out another document. 3 months ago, your father invested $50,000 in a startup. The exact amount came from an account that should have been transferred to you. The betrayal deepened. It wasn't just favoritism. It was systematic theft. Why? I asked uselessly. Why did they hate me this much? They don't hate you, Daniel said carefully. They hate what you represent. Authenticity in a family built on facades. Genuine emotion in a world of performed feelings. You're proof that their values, money, status, appearances, don't guarantee happiness. Max barked once, his agreement bark. So what now? Now we document everything. Every dollar diverted, every lie told, every legal violation. Your parents think this is about money. It's not. It's about patterns of financial abuse and fraud. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Your mom's here at the apartment. She's crying. I have to go, I said. Sophie, you don't owe them. I know. But I need to face this. When I arrived home, Mom sat on our stoop, her designer suit wrinkled, makeup smeared. She looked older, smaller, human in a way I'd never seen. Sophie. She stood, reaching for me. I stepped back, Max positioning himself between us. What do you want? To explain. To apologize. To fix this. You can't. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sat on our threadbare couch looking absurdly out of place. Your father doesn't know I'm here. He'd forbid it. But I need you to understand. Understand what? That you stole from me? That you sold my dog? That you've spent 25 years making me feel worthless? We never meant. Stop. Just stop with the intentions. Results matter, not intentions. She pulled out her phone, showing me a photo. Young dad and a baby me. You were so wanted, she whispered. We tried for 5 years. When you arrived, you were our miracle. What changed? You did, she corrected quickly. Not you, our expectations. You were supposed to be easier, compliant like Ashley when she came along. Instead, you questioned everything, challenged us, made us examine ourselves. And we didn't like what we saw. So you punished me for it. We tried to guide you. You tried to control me. When that failed, you ignored me. She was crying now, an ugly cry that ruined her remaining makeup. That money from James, we justified it. Said you'd waste it on causes, on others, never yourself. That was my choice to make. I know, God. I know. But your father, he had plans. Ashley's wedding, investments, securing our retirement. My retirement with my inheritance. We were going to pay it back. When? After Ashley had children? After they needed college funds? After you died and left me whatever was left? Her silence was admission. And Max? I pressed. How did you justify that? Ashley convinced us. Said you were too attached. It wasn't healthy. The offer came through a friend of Preston's. Daniel Blackwood isn't friends with Preston. No, but Preston knew someone who knew him. Said he was looking for a specific type of dog. The money was just so much. And Ashley's shoes. Stop. Every word makes it worse. She reached for my hands. I pulled away. Sophie, please. We're still family. No. Family doesn't do this. Maria, our housekeeper, showed more family loyalty than you did. She risked her job to help me. You risked nothing and took everything. What do you want from us? I want my inheritance. I want accountability. I want you to admit just once that Ashley isn't worth more than me. She's not. She is to you. Every choice you've made proves it. Mom stood defeated. Your father will never forgive this. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm demanding justice. At the door she turned. That dog. Does he really mean that much to you? Max was leaning against my leg, steady as a heartbeat. More than you'll ever understand, I said. She left. I knew it was the last honest conversation we'd ever have. The lawsuit hit the society pages before the legal documents were officially filed. Morrison family implodes over dog sale, read the New York Social Diary. Prominent lawyer accused of defrauding daughter, proclaimed the Times. Ashley's Instagram went private after someone leaked the shoe photos with the caption, $35,000 footwear funded by theft. I didn't leak it, but I didn't feel sorry for her. 3 weeks into the legal proceedings, Daniel called. Your parents want to settle. The forensic accounting revealed more than expected. Your father has been using your inheritance as collateral for loans. If this goes to court, he faces disbarment. Disbarment? Dad's worst nightmare. What are they offering? Full restitution plus damages, $300,000 total. And something else. They want you to sign an NDA. They wanted me to be silent about the family matters. Max sprawled across my feet, huffed in his sleep. No, I said. No NDA. I won't be silenced anymore. They can pay what they owe, but they don't get to buy my voice. 2 days later, Ashley appeared at my work, the youth counseling center. She stood in the lobby like an exotic bird in a coal mine. We need to talk, she announced. I'm working. This is important. More important than the job that pays nothing. She flinched. 5 minutes. I led her to the courtyard. She looked diminished, designer clothes hanging loose, engagement ring turned inward. Preston called off the wedding, she said. I waited. His family doesn't want the scandal. Says it reflects poorly on their reputation. I'm sorry. I was surprised to find I meant it. No, you're not. I'm sorry you're hurt. I'm not sorry he revealed his true character before you married him. She laughed, bitter and broken. You know what the worst part is? I knew. Deep down I knew he didn't love me. He loved what I represented. The right family, the right look, the right connections. Just like Mom and Dad loved the idea of me more than the reality. Ashley, you were right about everything. They do love me more, but it's not real love. It's investment. I'm their success story. You're their failure. But neither of us are their daughters. We're just products. For the first time in years I saw my sister. It's not too late, I said carefully. You can choose differently. With what? I have no money of my own, no job, no skills except planning parties and looking pretty. You have a degree in communications. Use it. Start over. Build something real. Like I did. Like I'm trying to. She studied me. You got Max back. Daniel Blackwood returned him. No. I mean, you got back what mattered. I lost what I thought mattered and realized it was nothing. We sat in silence. I need to tell you something, Ashley said finally. About the money, the $20,000 they kept. It wasn't for my wedding. It was to cover debts. Dad's been gambling. Mom's been shopping compulsively. They're broke, Sophie. Everything is leveraged. The house, the cars, even my wedding fund. It's all borrowed against future earnings that won't come if Dad's disbarred. The revelation felt inevitable. Why tell me? Because you deserve the truth. And because maybe if I start telling the truth, I can become someone worth being. She stood. That dog, Max, the way he looked at you when Blackwood brought him back. I've never had anyone look at me like that, like I was their whole world. You could. But first you need to figure out who you are when you're not performing. That evening Daniel called with final settlement terms. They've agreed to everything. Full restitution, damages, and no NDA. But there's a condition. What? They want a letter from you stating this concludes all matters between you. No future claims, no contact. Complete severance. They wanted me to formally disown them. Essentially, yes. Max trotted over, sensing my distress. Send me the papers, I said. Sophie, they made their choice. Now I'm making mine. 6 months later, I stood in front of 20 veterans, Max at my side, demonstrating bonding techniques for the service dog program Daniel had hired me to develop. My official title was K9 Behavioral Specialist, but really I was a translator. Trust isn't commanded, I explained. It's earned daily in small gestures. Consistency matters more than grand displays. Max demonstrated, responding to subtle hand signals. These veterans understood loyalty. After class I checked my phone. No messages from family. There hadn't been for months. The legal settlement had been concluded quietly. Dad avoided disbarment but agreed to supervise practice and restitution. Mom sold her jewelry. The house was on the market. Ashley had disappeared to California, starting over, finding herself. I hoped it was true. Good session, Daniel said, appearing. The Martinez pairing is working well. Both abandoned, both fighting to trust again. Like you and Max. We weren't abandoned. We were sold. There's a difference. Is there? I considered. Abandonment might be kindness. Admitting you can't care for something. Selling is calculating worth and finding it profitable to betray. My parents aren't my parents anymore, legally or otherwise. The paperwork had been filed months ago. Complete severance. I changed my emergency contacts, my beneficiaries, everything. Any regrets? Daniel asked. Max chose that moment to demonstrate his newest trick, fetching my water bottle without being asked. None, I said. That evening, I attended my first gallery opening, not for the art but for Maria, whose son was exhibiting. She'd reached out after the settlement, tentatively. Sophie. She embraced me warmly. And the famous Max. The dog who exposed the truth. The dog who was worth more than shoes, I corrected, and we both laughed. Her son's art was powerful. I bought a piece. My first real art purchase with my reclaimed inheritance. You look happy, Maria observed. I'm free. It's the same thing. Maybe it was. On the subway home, Max alert to every sound, I reflected. 6 months ago my life was destroyed. Now I had work that mattered, a dog who'd proven his loyalty, and freedom from the toxic performance of the Morrison family. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Sophie, it's Ashley. My sister's voice sounded different, uncertain but clearer. How are you? I asked carefully. I'm learning. Working at a nonprofit in San Diego. Can you believe it? Me at a nonprofit. What kind? Animal rescue, actually. Figured I should understand what you saw in dogs. And I get it now. They don't care about your last name or your design or anything. They just exist with you. Yeah. I wanted you to know I'm in therapy. Real therapy. And I'm sorry for everything. For the shoes, for the years of dismissal, for not seeing you. Ashley, I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to say it. To be accountable. I appreciate that. Maybe someday when I'm more myself, whoever that is, we could try again as sisters. Real ones. Maybe give Max my love. Tell him I'm sorry too. She hung up before I could respond. That night in our apartment, mine now, Sarah had moved in with her boyfriend. Max and I shared Chinese takeout. The inheritance had afforded me choices. A better apartment, a car, security. But I'd chosen carefully. Most went to savings, some to the youth center, some to launching my own training program for rescue dogs. Max rested his head on my lap, sighing contentedly. In his eyes I saw reflected what James Hartley had seen. Someone worth believing in, worth investing in, worth $200,000 and a letter of encouragement from beyond. My family had sold my dog while I was away, thinking they'd trade his loyalty for luxury, his love for profit. They didn't expect who showed up at the door. Not just Daniel Blackwood with his lawyers and leverage, but the truth itself, trotting in on 4 paws, carrying in its teeth the lies they'd buried under matrimonial marble and borrowed prestige. The Morrisons had gained $35,000 and lost both daughters. They'd kept their reputation barely intact, but lost their family entirely. Max and I, we'd lost nothing that mattered and gained everything that did. We did it, boy. I whispered into his fur. We're home. He huffed agreement, tail wagging gently, and we sat in peaceful silence. A girl and her dog, worth more than any inheritance. Chosen family in the truest sense. Max yawned, stretched, and padded to his expensive orthopedic bed. He circled 3 times, then settled with a contented groan. Good boy, I said. The very best boy.